So this first poem is from the edges of Exmoor, Hall Farm in Brendan, in fact, where I went as part of the commission to write about pasture farming in the winter of 2018, just of the farm being just on the edge of the Coleridge Way. And part of the project with these farmers was to help them clear the river and manage the river. So this is Stripping the Willow. Beyond the bramble barricade, a willow stoops into the river. Supple croziers hook beards of plastic, mud and roots that trail in the race. From the still meadow, water and tree seem remote, their enclosures built from 40 years of growth. Shoots have spawned shoots, become trunks or balls of leaf obscuring spiny veins, a dense mesh of life that subsumes wires and borders. Field and river's edge are sunk under the weight of weeds, the inching chains of a farmer's ruin, of the soil's desires. We wade in amongst bramble like mundane princes from some wayward fairy tale, armoured in gloves and boots, bristling with swear words, cutting tools, a fork, a saw. The thorns give nothing up without a fight. Roots come out clay-bound and slow, wiry with touchdowns, the delicate tendrils of next year's needle patch. They ride the air to the fire pile as lionfish to coral, in lazy arcs, like control was theirs for the taking in every element, until fire devours branches and pigs their roots. The farm was not a farm for 40 years. Karen leans into the wind, hauls eel-slick willow out of my hands, up onto the field. 50 years ago, this riverbank was clear. The house farmed tourists, come to hear ghosts of Lorna Doone, the annual yield of walkers on the Coleridge Way. Thick with neglect, a river slowly disappears. The land was rented out. No one thought to look. Unchecked, Willow tried to turn river into brook. Nick clambers through willow maze, bowsaw in hand, curses moss and river, the bitter tongues of air that reach down this clotted bank. He knots branches with red rope. I hold the other end as he saws, grunts, gestures in the direction of their descent. I haul them in as a fisherman might, wind in branches against the river's dictatorial flow, flop them at my feet where light and leaf make scales of bark as winter sun begins its slow reoccupation of this long-abandoned patch of land. An island of leaves half turned to earth, bound by severed roots, spins gently out into the East Lynn, a day trip to Lynmouth, its slow disintegration, a translucent echo under the water's skin. A nest of pussy willow seeds breaks from the pool. We open to the race. Their lunar sheen scatters fractal into faster eddies consumed by mulch. As the river darkens, clears, renews itself, sucks loose-knit muck and soil out into its rapid dance. An alchemy of water, earth, and light. And this next poem, I was commissioned when I was the poet in residence for the county of Herefordshire to write about the Physic garden that had been reinstated at Helen's in Muchmarcle in Herefordshire. And it was an exciting commission. I was really looking forward to this, and the only time they could get me to come and look at the Physic garden was in February. So I had to do a lot of research, a lot of imagining, and this is the poem that came out of it. February in the Physic garden. The garden's still. budless. A monochrome sky has locked it out of spring. Last year's ghost stalk crop stands guard, holds the soil to account, shivers in the breeze as worms and insects knead the earth around its roots. Knitbone, garlic, yarrow for a jagged wound, all the plants for poultice and binding placed side by side, carefully in bed with betony and chamomile, dream safe, digestion's aid. 8 sections to the garden, following the phases of the moon. A millennia's root weave of learning, the raised bed of Ceridwen's cauldron open to centuries of trial and error. 3 drops of wisdom for every tongue, from the octagonal seed hoard, divided and quartermastered, waiting for the coming sun. Spells for the sorcerer, lost in the earth's shadow. Wolfsbane, wormwood, lily of the valley, the swift flight of the henbane oracle, its yellow head lifting you on dragon-wing leaves. Not long now until the earth's turning winds time up to its swiftest tick, and Skullcap's tiny calyx dish pushes out towards the light, amongst the slow creep of heartsease, the lingering Christmas rose. Light is a medicine for medicine, a poultice to soothe the garden's hardy, winter-prickled skin.